In the lash event lands of the Luo, nestled by the shimmering waters of Lake Victoria, tales of an indomitable warrior named Lwanda Magere echoed across villages. Born under a full moon in the year 1720 to Abonyo Wood Omolo and his mother, Nyabera. After his mother died during his birth, he was taken into the care of his grandmother, Rapondi. His father died in one of the numerous wars with their Nandi neighbors when Magere was barely a teenager. He belonged to the Sido clan in Kano on the shores of Lake Victoria. The Sido clan occupies the present-day sugar belt at the foot of the Nandi escarpment. His birth was marked by celestial omens and prophecies of greatness. Lwanda's grandmother, a revered healer, raised him with tales of Vala and the traditions of the Luo people. From a young age, Lwanda exhibited extraordinary strength and resilience. No spear could pierce his skin, and no sword could leave a mark on him, for his body was like iron, impervious to any weapon. The elders declare that Lwanda was destined to be the shield and spear of the Luo people. Lwanda's childhood was filled with moments that hinted at his future greatness. As a child, he would play games with other boys pretending to be warriors. Even then, his strength was evident when the boys would wrestle. Lwanda always emerged victorious. He was kind-hearted and often helped his peers with tasks that required more strength. His laughter was infectious, and he had a knack for making even the stun elders smile with his witty remarks. As Lwanda grew, so did his reputation. The Luo were often at odds with their neighboring distant brothers, Nandis, whose warriors were fierce and cunning. The first significant clash came when the Nandi launched a surprise attack on a Luo village. The skies darkened with arrows, and the ground trembled under the stampede of warriors. Lwanda, leading the Luo warriors, met the Nandis with unmatched ferocity. His spear darted through the air like a lightning bolt, and his shield was impenetrable despite his seriousness on the battlefield. Lwanda had a humorous sight that he often displayed during battle. As arrows bounced off him, he would jokingly taunt his enemies. "Is that the best you can do? My grandmother throws stones harder than you shoot arrows." This would often confuse the Nandis, who were not used to a warrior making jokes in the heat of battle. The battles were always intense, with warriors from both sides clashing fiercely. The sounds of metal clanging, war cries, and the thud of arrows hitting shields filled the air. Lwanda, in the thick of the fight, moved with the grace of a lion and the strength of an elephant. His presence on the battlefield was like that of a storm, sweeping through his enemies with unstoppable force. Word of Lwanda's invincibility spread like wildfire. The Nandis, able to best him on the battlefield, retreated, nursing their wounded pride and plotting revenge. Among the Luo, Lwanda was celebrated not just as a warrior, but as a savior. Songs were sung in his honor, and his name became synonymous with hope and strength. Lwanda's return from battle was always met with celebrations. The villagers would gather singing and dancing to welcome their hero. Children would run ahead shouting his name, and the elders would perform rituals to thank the ancestors for his protection. Lwanda, always humble, would join in the festivities, often leading the dances and sharing stories of the battle, always with a humorous twist to keep the mood light. After a while, the Nandi people could no longer bear the losses the battles would bring to them. They held a meeting to strategies to lure them into a false sense of security by proposing a truce. They offered their chief's daughter in marriage to Lwanda as a gesture of peace. The Luo elders, weary but hopeful for lasting peace, agreed. Lwanda accepted the Nandi bride, and a grand wedding was held. The Nandi's chief's daughter was a strikingly beautiful woman with a sharp mind. She had been chosen not just for her beauty, but for her intelligence and cunning. The Nandis hoped that through her they could find a way to defeat Lwanda. Despite the joyful celebrations, the Luo elders remained cautious. Lwanda's first wife, though welcoming her new co-wife, shared their concerns. She had long known the secret of Lwanda's vulnerability. His life force was bound to his shadow. Should his shadow be harmed, he would be rendered vulnerable. "Beware of this Nandi woman," she warned him. "She comes with honeyed words, but her heart carries poison." Lwanda dismissed her concerns with a wave of his mighty hand. "No one can harm me," he said, his voice like the rumble of distant thunder. "Not even the gods can undo me." Lwanda's new Nandi wife was quite enchanting as the dawn, her beauty captivating. She quickly won over many in the village with her beauty and grace. She would often joke with the villagers, trying to learn their language and making humorous mistakes that endeared her to many. Lwanda's first wife found these antics amusing, but never let her guard down. The Nandi wife, though outwardly loving, was a spy. She seduced Lwanda into revealing his secret. One fateful evening, under the silver light of a full moon, as Lwanda lay beside her, she played her hand. Feigning sorrow, she wept softly, her tears glistening like morning dew. "Why do you cry, my love?" Lwanda asked, his voice softening for the first time. "I am your wife," she whispered, her voice trembling with false emotion. "Yet you do not trust me with your deepest truths. How can I protect you as your companion if I do not know where your strength lies?" Her words pierced his pride. Trusting her beauty and her tears, Lwanda revealed his secret. "My body may be invincible," he said, "but my strength does not lie in my flesh. It lies in my shadow. Harm my shadow, and you harm me." The Nandi bride concealed her triumph behind a veil of tenderness. She held him close that night, but in her heart she carried his doom. Armed with this knowledge, the Nandi wife sent word to her people. The Nandi warriors, armed with this new knowledge, prepared for their final assault. Meanwhile, Lwanda's first wife noticed the sudden change in the Nandi wife's Mina. She became more secretive and often avoided direct eye contact. Suspicious, but with no concrete evidence, she warned Lwanda, "Remember, my love, not everything that glitters is gold. Be careful where you place your trust." The Nandi wife, feeling the weight of her deception, tried to maintain her facade. She would often be seen sitting alone, lost in thought, her once bright eyes now shadowed by guilt. But she had made her choice, and there was no turning back. The Nandi launched a surprise attack at dawn. The air was thick with the tension of impending doom. Lwanda, as always, charged into battle. The earth shook beneath his feet, and his war cry sent chills down the spines of his enemies. The Nandi warriors, however, had a new weapon, the sun. Positioning themselves carefully, they struck at Lwanda's shadow, casting spears into the dark silhouette that stretched before him. Lwanda roared in pain, a sound so terrible that it seemed to split the heavens. Realizing the danger, he tried to protect his shadow, but the Nandis were relentless. As the beam struck his shadow, Lwanda felt an unprecedented pain, his skin, once imperious, now bleeding. The invincible warrior was vulnerable. Despite his efforts, the Nandis overwhelmed him. Lwanda fell not from lack of strength or courage, but from the betrayal that pierced his very soul. The battle was fierce, with the ground soaked in the blood of both Luo and Nandi warriors. The cries of the wounded and the clash of weapons filled the air. Lwanda, fighting with every ounce of his remaining strength, was a sight to behold, but even heroes have their limits. As he fell, Lwanda Magere's blood soaked the earth, and his body turned to stone. Even in death, his figure stood unyielding, a silent testament to his strength and his betrayal. The Luo mourned the loss of their greatest warrior, their protector, and their pride. The stone that was once Lwanda Magere remains to this day near Lake Victoria, a solemn reminder of his tragic tale. The Luo people tell his story not just to honor his greatness, but to warn against the dangers of misplaced trust and the sharp blade of betrayal. Moral lesson: strength without wisdom can lead to ruin. Lwanda's physical invincibility was unmatched, but his downfall came from a moment of misplaced trust. While he excelled in battle, he lacked the caution to safeguard his secret, proving that strength alone is not enough. Wisdom is essential. No matter how powerful you are, a single unwise decision can undo everything. True strength lies in balancing power with prudence. Beware of deception. The Nandi bride, though outwardly loving and charming, harbored deceitful intentions. Her beauty and grace masked her true purpose, and her betrayal was instrumental in Lwanda's demise. Appearances can be deceiving. Not everyone who smiles at you has your best interests at heart. Trust must be earned, not freely given. The danger of pride. When warned by his first wife and others, Lwanda dismissed their concerns, confident in his invincibility. His pride blinded him to the possibility of vulnerability, leading to his ultimate fall. Pride can cloud judgment and make even the strongest vulnerable. Humility and a willingness to listen to advice are vital. Secrets must be guarded. Wisely, Lwanda's vulnerability lay in his shadow, a fact he kept hidden until he was deceived into revealing it. Sharing it cost him his life and endangered his people. Some truths are best kept private, especially when revealing them can bring harm. Trust must be placed carefully, and secrets safeguarded. What lessons have you learned? I believe there is a Lwanda Magere in other tribes as well. What did you call him, her, and what are the similarities? Comment below as you like, subscribe, and share the video. See you in my next one.